Thursday morning and happy Friday Eve, everyone. Thank you for watching KSAT News Now. We're streaming and podcasting Monday through Friday at 11. So RJ, go with it.
Yeah, hit us with that like, rate, and subscribe to anywhere that you get your daily podcast. We really appreciate if you were to do that and give us that 5-star rating. You know what I mean?
5 stars for sure. Yes.
5-star. Yeah, so we have a lot of news to get to, and you know what? We're on YouTube also. So if you were hearing us maybe a little bit before the show, we were doing Yoda speak.
Brand new to me. Never heard of it, but now I understand.
Having to explain what Yoda speak is was an interesting concept for me. And there's actually a Yoda translator or Yoda speak converter. So
are you a fan of Star Wars?
Not a huge fan. I mean, I've seen the movies. I mean, I'll dive into it a little bit, but not really like a huge star. There are people here though that
they're
are huge
dedicated.
Star Wars fans.
Oh,
Yes.
for sure. Not
One
just
of
here,
our
but
editors,
everywhere.
Tim Stewart.
Oh,
one of
yes.
them. Yeah.
Tim
Photojournalist
Stewart,
Mark Mendez.
Alex Trevino, our editor.
Alex, yes. Alex is a huge Star Wars fan. Daniel Villanueva, one of our sports
Yes.
fans. Yeah, we got a lot of Star Wars. Oh, Josh Saunders.
Yeah.
There we go.
Okay. Well, I think you named about 5 of them.
Yeah.
So
All
yes.
right. There's a reason we're doing this, and we'll explain that in just a little bit.
Yeah, so we're going to be talking about that. We also have another development in the search for a missing teen in Galveston, and we're going to be talking about a video that's a video on a Southwest flight that's getting a lot of attention online.
Yeah, and then talking about this stuff in Hollywood, the reason we're talking about Yoda, all these things, is because there's a San Antonio native who's doing big things out there in LA. So we'll get to introduce him to y'all here in just a bit. Plus, pollen problems
Womp,
wreaking
womp,
havoc
womp.
in our lives.
Oh, for sure. And I forgot to take my allergy pill this morning.
No, that's
Yeah.
the worst.
I know. So we'll see how I feel a little bit later.
Yeah, so we have all that, and we will talk about that here in just a bit. But first, we are actually going to go back to the west side for an update on the neighborhood where that deadly dog attack happened last month.
Neighbors are now saying that they're getting threats for speaking up after an 81-year-old man was mauled to death and 3 others were attacked.
That's right. San Antonio police say that they are investigating reports of death threats and vandalism in the neighborhood off Dipla Street, right there on the west side.
SAPD says they are taking any threats of retaliation seriously, and those could result in a felony charge against the person or people behind them.
And they're asking neighbors to continue to report these cases to SAPD so it can be investigated. Now, the house where the dogs lived has been no stranger to these calls or law enforcement. So over a 2-year span, there were more than 100 calls for disturbances, shots fired, and animal-related calls, among many other things.
SAPD Police Chief William McManus and District 5 Councilwoman Terry Castillo have visited with neighbors there to let them know that they are listening. We also know that officers have been kind of patrolling the area as a precaution, just a little bit extra because of these reported threats. But yeah, it's a sad situation that these people were basically in fear for their lives because of these dogs that were kind of running through the neighborhood loosely, and then they make these reports, and now they're scared again.
You know, and it's not uncommon to see this, you know, where there's people that live in a neighborhood, and obviously there's been issues with certain neighbors or whatnot, homeowners, in this case these dog owners, and they just don't want to speak out because they're afraid of what's going to come their way. You know, just when we cover stories, you know, that's always a concern with individuals that we try and talk to, whether it's a criminal situation or something, you know, related to maybe some family. I mean, yeah, it's always a tough situation to talk to people because they really do get scared about this stuff. And I mean, it's obviously here that's been some of the case that we've seen.
Yeah, and I'm glad though that SAPD is asking officers, or they have officers, to kind of patrol the area so that it can give them just a little bit of peace of mind. But again, this story, like we've been saying, we've been following it this whole time, and it's really not going anywhere, especially with the 2 suspects still in custody.
Yeah, definitely one of those stories that we will continue to follow. Moving on here to the Texas Gulf Coast here, and we have an update on the search for one of the missing teens out there in Galveston.
A second body was recovered after 2 13-year-old boys disappeared near Pleasure Pier on Sunday. The Galveston Island Beach Patrol told our sister station in Houston, KPRC, that someone walking on the beach this morning found a body on the shoreline.
And police confirmed that the body matches the description of one of the missing twins. So the presumed other brother was found dead on Tuesday, and family members have identified the twins as Jefferson and Josue Perez. And this story continues to be just heartbreaking. If you're watching us on the visual platforms, you obviously see a bunch of family photos of the two twins there together.
Yes, and from what I remember, they were swimming in waist-deep water. And, about an hour went by when the family noticed that they were missing before they called law enforcement to step in, and they spent days looking for them. So I'm glad that they were able to recover the bodies.
Yeah.
However, this is definitely not a situation that we would want anyone to be in, but it's also acting as a reminder for, spring breakers, families that are going to be, visiting any beach, any body of water, just to be careful.
Yeah, and something that David Sears had mentioned earlier, he brought up a point here about at the time we did not know if these two boys knew how to swim or exactly some of the details of this, but the mother did confirm to Houston media outlets that they did not know how to swim or that they couldn't swim. So you mentioned about just constant reminders. That's also another reminder there to try and get your kids swimming lessons as early as possible. And just a very sad situation all the way around. And you mentioned that they were about 20 yards out of the pier the last time they were seen. And again, we'll never know the full details, but I would imagine that maybe one of them got caught underneath and maybe the other one tried to go after him or something. I mean, it just sad all the way around.
Very sad, but again, that second body has been recovered, so they haven't been officially identified.
Yeah, I don't think officially. Yeah, it's a family that has identified them, and obviously, as we get more details, it seems more likely that that is definitely the two twins there.
All right, so we're going now to air travel safety. It's in question again after a fight actually broke out in a Southwest airplane in Dallas this week.
Yeah, this is some pretty wild video here. So this marks the latest in a series of unruly passengers across the country. And there was also another incident recently in Boston where a man threatened a flight attendant with a broken spoon.
This Dallas flight was heading to Phoenix when one man confronted another and started punching him.
Yeah, and you could see us on the visual platforms here. There's just all sorts of commotion here on the plane. Very scary situation for everyone involved here. So another passenger obviously recorded the flight. That's how we're getting this video. And interestingly enough, the FAA is currently in Washington, D.C. right now talking to the Senate about improving air safety and possible new precautions.
And you know what I find really interesting about these types of stories where we have video of it, because somebody is always quick to grab their phone and take video. And in this case, nobody else, it seems, was really getting hurt, but there are times where I'm just like, I don't know if that would be my first reaction, is to take my phone out and record it. I don't think it would be.
Yeah.
But yes, this was taken by Caitlin Johnson, and I don't even know how I would react if I was caught in a flight where a fight broke out. That is crazy.
Yeah, it's definitely scary there. Usually your anxiety's high enough when you're on a flight and you're around like a bunch of people and stuff, and especially in that other incident there in Boston where that passenger was talking about they're going to have to get SWAT out here to take me down, and he ended up attacking a flight attendant there. And in that case, there were, I remember, a group of passengers that did go try and at least sort of hold this individual down. But scary stuff all the way around. Just gotta kind of relax a little bit, keep your cool on these flights, and because they're already kind of stressful to begin with.
They are.
Yeah,
and
you're traveling with families, and you're dealing with a lot of different
and be nice. Just be nice when you're flying. Be nice all the time, but especially when you're like on a flight. Be courteous, be polite. Don't be starting fights with people.
No, definitely not.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
I like that, yeah. Ain't no one got time for that, and just be nice. Okay, so ain't no one got time for this either here. We say it ain't so. We're talking about pollen here. The pollen count is hitting the southern and eastern U.S. pretty hard and earlier than anticipated.
Yes, if you haven't noticed already, waves of the yellow-green dust are flooding in the air and coating cars and sidewalks. I actually saw this yesterday at my house. In Atlanta, the pollen count reached the highest it's ever been in 30 years.
All right, so we are also expecting this to happen across most southern states, and this all comes after a noticeably warmer February, which may possibly be linked to climate change.
The nonprofit group Climate Central confirms allergy seasons have gone up since the 70s. So basically, Justin, are these the pollen counts, have you noticed that they've grown, the actual number itself? Or not really?
It's a really hard question to answer, and climate change could play a role, and I know this is not a definitive answer and probably not what people want to hear. I think there's probably some sort of role being played by climate change here, but it could also just be year-to-year variation. We know around here that the seasons wobble a little bit, but they tend to stay pretty much in their time frames. And oak was a little early this year, but not by a lot. And we're starting to see the leaves fall. So with the Texas live oak, you see the leaves fall, and then the catkins come out, and then the pollen. It's a whole process. But it's going to be interesting to see. I think we got to compile more data to see how it kind of all plays out over time. But it is an interesting study.
I do have, so I was looking up some memes because obviously we get the yellow stuff on our cars and stuff, and there was one here that said, hello, pollen, my old friend. You've come to clog my head again.
That's well done. Yeah, my favorite one is
no Peppa Pig impersonation, but I wanted to throw that one in.
I think it's Coldplay. It was all yellow.
Oh yes,
that's
perfect.
a good one.
Yeah, I like that one. By the way, oak is at 810 tonight, so the highest it's been so far this season. Mold, hackberry, mulberry, all there, but it's oak that is causing us all issues. So there it is. Pollen count's probably going to get worse as we go forward. I know it will. Just looking at the trees, you can see it. So let's change subjects.
Yes.
My buddy here, RJ, is going to be going to South by Southwest coming up. He's going to be covering for us. So here's your question. South by Southwest is named partly because of Austin's geographical location, but it's also a nod to what? A well-known band, a famous movie, a popular Austin bar, or a Texas radio station.
Wow.
What do you think?
Okay, I'm going to look bad here because I don't know. I'm covering this
Putting
thing
you on the spot.
this weekend, and I don't know this answer.
It's rather obscure.
I feel like I'm torn because I just read something about it and now I cannot remember.
Yeah.
But I think it's B.
Okay.
Okay.
A famous movie.
That sounds to me like a bar name.
A bar name?
That just seems like a dive bar, a place, like a watering hole, South by
6th Street, yeah.
Robert, by the way, said that he thinks it's D.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
well,
we got B, C, D.
Priscilla's actually correct.
What?
Her memory did her well, so it is named after a famous movie. In fact,
Tally that, RJ.
there it is. Add it up.
I've lost track of that.
South by South was initially organized in 1986, and one of the co-organizers, Lewis Black, came up with the name as a play off of Alfred Hitchcock's North by Northwest. But because it's in the Southwest, he did South by Southwest.
So it's not. Wait. Okay. A nod to what? So there's not actually a movie name.
No.
That's what threw me off.
Yeah.
They're playing off of it. Yeah, isn't it? Yeah. There you go. That was kind of a tricky
Trick
one.
us here. Yeah.
That's right.
Nice job, Priscilla.
Thanks, Justin.
Yeah, good work. Good work. The sun's starting to shine through. We've got mostly cloudy to partly cloudy skies here over San Antonio, and temperatures are really warming up. 77 degrees right now. We've got some 80s on the map. A little cooler up across the hill country, 69 Fredericksburg, 83 in Cotulla. And here's what I'll tell you. Next several days, keep an eye on the forecast. Keep that KSAT weather app handy because we're going to have a lot of ups and downs. A roller coaster ride, a yo-yo, whatever you want to call it. Temperatures are going to be bouncing around. 76 Boulevardy, 76 in Helotes. We're at 82 right now in Devine. Here's the forecast for today. We'll be up around 85. That's right where we were yesterday. So today doesn't change. It's actually tonight where we start to see some of those changes. We add in some rain chances by 10 o'clock. 10 to 11 o'clock, we could see a couple thunderstorms popping up. So let me show you the forecast. Again, partly to mostly cloudy today. We'll fast forward to 10 o'clock tonight. Here comes our front. Notice we've got some showers and storms developing in the hill country. Those tries to ease a little bit closer to San Antonio by midnight. By the way, we're not looking for a lot of severe weather. Can't rule out a strong storm, but severe weather doesn't look like there's not a high probability for that. And then as we get into tomorrow morning, a few more showers lingering along the front. Front moves through. rain moves out, but we still have some cloud cover, and it gets cooler and drier, at least for a day, because by Saturday, moisture and warmth start to spread right back in. So that's what we have to look forward to tomorrow. Look at the highs tomorrow. 73 here in San Antonio, so that is a nice change. There still will be some 80s down to the south, but it'll be cool, especially in the hill country where we'll see 60s and 70s. And that's not it, by the way. We've got another front. So we bounce right back up to 87 on Saturday. It's warm. Then on Sunday, we get another front. That'll be a transition day, and we're back down into the low 70s by Monday and Tuesday to start spring break. Temperatures in the mornings will be in the 40s and 50s, so it'll be kind of chilly for the first half of spring break next week. And so if you do have plans to go down to the beach, know it is going to be a little bit chilly down there too. Water temperatures are in the 70s. If you're floating the rivers, same story. But you know, this time of year, it just is what it is.
Good ideas there.
What do you prefer though, the river or the beach?
I'm a beach guy. Although I love floating the river, but I'm a beach guy too.
Yeah. You?
River guy. I'm Texas State. That's what we do.
River guy.
We don't even go to class. We just go float to class.
RJ.
Just play.
Yeah, I do love the river though, because there's no sand. I love the beach, but the sand is like too much.
It's a no-go?
No, but we're going, so. We're going, so I have to just toughen it out.
Voted on that one. All right, well, thank you very much,
Thank you, Justin.
Appreciate you as always. Okay, so we were talking a little bit about movies, thanks to Justin, his tricky trivia there. So we're talking a little bit shows and movies here. Priscilla, what are your thoughts on Baby Yoda?
He's cute. And my son has some onesies with him on it, and they're
very
cute
nice.
too.
Yeah. Cuteness all the way around.
Yes.
The reason we bring this up is because for fans of Star Wars lore, nature, The Mandalorian just started on season 3, Disney Plus. And it has some San Antonio ties. It's pretty cool.
Local makeup artist Lawrence Mercado has worked on the show and many others as he's made his way to the top and is now a prolific special effects makeup artist.
That's right. Mercado graduated from Jefferson High School, Mustangs there, and worked various jobs in the city, including the now closed Ripley's Haunted Adventure. Gotta love that. That's a tourist staple where he fell in love with horror, makeup, and effects.
He moved to Los Angeles in 2013 and worked on some very popular movies and TV shows like Insidious, Lucifer, American Horror Story, which I do love, and more recently the aforementioned The Mandalorian.
Yeah, that's right. So that's a lot of interesting stuff there. So speaking of movies here, don't forget to watch the Oscars this Sunday night right here on KSAT 12. And producer Robert writes here, let's see how many celebrities are able to beat the clock during their award speeches.
Yes. Executive producers and showrunners and confirmed to CNN that if someone's giving a heartfelt speech, they won't be cut off, but if it starts sounding like a grocery list, the music will start playing, which is always my favorite part too.
Yeah. Well, look, I mean, it's like if the big awards, they're not going to play them off.
No.
It's usually like cinematographer, like those types of the production crews that usually kind of get the short end of the stick there. But yeah, this guy's story, Lawrence, is pretty cool. If you go to his Instagram page, he's got a lot of really interesting stuff that he's done.
I did read a little tidbit about what he said, and he was talking about the first time that he had to create like blood, and it came out purple instead of red. So
that's interesting.
So yeah, he's had a lot of practice to get it where he's at now.
All right, well, shout out to Lawrence representing for Jefferson High School there and doing big things here from the San Antonio area.
All right, well, thank you so much for watching KSAT News Now. We will see you tomorrow at 11.
Bye, y'all.